go. Sweet. Now we got peeps showing up. We're just doing our attendance, folks. So Kathy on. Yeah. Steve Neer. Tracy Weir. Anne Marie. Paul's Green. Dale Lingenfelter. Did I tell you Anne Marie? Yes. Yep. Mike Daly. Here. Yep. Robert McHugh.
I got him.
Who do we miss? Yates. Alternate. Okay. You got Kroll. Yes. Did I say Kroll? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here, Jim.
Yep. You know, I saw you. Yeah, it's just she's doing the paper list and I'm doing
It's 1419.
This left fresh stuff.
Whose phone number ends in 1419?
I don't have it.
That's Rich Solutions, 1419.
I think I would know that by now.
They're coming
How
out with
about
all new
1619?
Call of Duty.
Who's 1619?
I think you're right.
Steve.
That's
Yep.
what I thought. That one I got, right? Let's see. $14. We still need a couple more people. Everybody else, everybody?
No,
for a
that's
second
that's
page?
full screen. No, as far as I know.
Did you guys see Jeremiah Rod? Just want to
Yep.
make sure.
Good. Yes, thank you.
Carol, this is Anne Marie. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, let me
Okay.
count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Good.
We're good.
What can actually that's new.
All right, I think we're good.
Well, so having reached quorum at 6:05, we'll call the meeting to order and begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Minutes are recording. Announcements for excused members are Charles Welge and PJ Keeler. That'll bring us to Executive Director's Report.
Okay, DOH contracts, who knows when? We asked at the September program directors meeting, the people came back from Remsco, and we weren't provided a timeline, so we figured we'd ask a few months later at December program directors meeting, and the reply was still no timeline. So we did sick Beth on some of the contract matters from DOH, and they did confirm that it should be a combined program agency contract with Remo and Arams. We'll believe it when we see it, when that contract arrives. Remo retreat, we have a facilitator. Lee Burns has graciously agreed to accept that, and she'd be happy to facilitate the retreat. And I know you guys will be talking a lot more about the retreat later on in the meeting. On a related note, myself, Chairman Stairs, and Beth McGowan met to plan some of the retreat, or pre-plan, I should say, discuss some agenda items and set some potential goals. Once we have everything finalized with input from Remsco members, I'll disseminate that to everybody. Training note, a Remo EMT Original starts January 23rd. The associated refresher starts January 21st. And we do have a Remo AEMT up in Glens Falls / Queensbury area. I'm not sure if that went public today. That's why I put to be announced, but that sounds like it's definitely going to be a go. Remsco Schenectady County Rep Alex Knowlton submitted his resignation due to expanded commitments at the firehouse. His replacement will be Captain Jeffrey Huth, and he was appointed from Schenectady County. Just a reminder, because I forgot last week, the REMAX start time is now 2:30 p.m. and it's the continued combined format with the advisory committee and REMAC will continue for now. Just a reminder, awards banquet has been set. It's Wednesday, January 29th, 6 p.m. at the Delmar Bethlehem EMS station in Delmar. All the award winners were notified via certified mail. I think the vast majority of them have come back. General registration should be open probably tomorrow if it wasn't already open today. And the last thing I have is the auditors have completed their in-house portion of the annual audit. If anybody's got any questions or comments, I'd be happy to entertain them or answer them.
Sounds good. I don't have anything specific in terms of a chairperson's report that won't come up in other items. I don't think we have anything specifically under issue discussions that won't come up either. Dr. Daly, are you okay to do your reports currently?
Thanks for checking in to make sure I wasn't doing anything dangerous.
Could be mobile.
Exactly. I actually just parked and we'll be walking in shortly. But in terms of reports, we did not do QI this month. We have a schedule of QI items and a plan going through next year, which I'm really excited about. And Beth will be getting out to everybody. And we will continue that moving forward. Probably the most important thing for me to talk about just is progress in terms of blood. There's been more information disseminated now about the legislative process allowing us to administer blood products as ground EMS. That actually has made the news. Just spent some time with Channel 10, as a matter of fact. Other things of working from that, we have the blood committee working diligently here regionally with the next meeting on Wednesday, and spent significant time today with representatives from the Department of Health working on some draft blood regulations that will impact both ground and air, as well as interfacility transfer. I can only say good things about the process that we're having right now, working with the Department of Health in terms of promulgating these regulations. I've seen regulations that have been done in the past, and the process that Gina and Don are doing at Ryan's direction in order to bring as many stakeholders to the table as possible in developing these regulations is really spectacular. And the draft regulations as they currently stand right now look like they will be heading in a really good direction. That said, it will not be something we will be delivering our first transfusion next week. This is going to take some time, and we need to make sure to be patient with the process so that we are managing this rare resource and precious resource as diligently as we possibly can. So stand by, more to come, but extremely exciting stuff.
Very good. Would that be medical director as well?
All ahead, Jim. Thanks.
Yep. Okay. Very good. Thank you. Dr. McHugh, REMAC and academic.
Yeah, pre-back and academic meeting went on. We discussed most of what Mike just talked about blood availability. And there was nothing else significant on the agenda for that. It was mainly housekeeping.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. McHugh. PJ is excused, so we have nothing for a treasury report other than the physical report that was distributed. So with that, nothing from a CON committee perspective. Nothing is before the CON committee currently. Several information sharing items. So here we go. Pardon the amount of time it'll take to get through these. Ramapo Valley Ambulance Corps Agency Code number 4319 had their certification revoked effective 10/17/24 for violations of Public Health Law 30121F, 30121D, 30121B, and Part 800.21J and Part 800.21A. The Corona Valley Community Ambulance Corps Agency Code 7344 had their certification revoked effective 12/2/24 for violations of Article 30121F. Wayne Allen of Gloversville, New York State EMT number 377943 had his certification summarily suspended pending a hearing that was scheduled for 11/14/2024 for violations of Part 800.16A10. And there is no further information relative to that issue. Stephen Stinson of Niagara Falls, New York State EMT number 433772 had his certification suspended for 1 year. That suspension was stayed pending successful probation. He was assessed a civil penalty of $4,000, $2,000 of which was stayed for violations of Part 800.16A1 and 2. Kadisha Garcia, Brooklyn, New York State EMT number 482007, had her certification suspended for 1 year effective 11/26/24. That was that suspension was stayed pending probation, and that person was assessed a civil penalty of $12,000, $8,000 of which was stayed for violations of Part 800.16A 1, 2, 3, 9, and 11. John Keever of Worcester, New York State EMT number 228841 had his certification revoked effective 12/9/24 and was assessed a civil penalty of $2,000 for violations of Part 800.15A2 and 800.15B1. Christopher Piluch of Farmingdale, New York State EMT number 167410 had his certification suspended for 1 year effective 11/22/24. That suspension was stayed pending probation for violations of Part 800.16A1. And Carol Outar, Woodhaven, New York State EMT number 468572 had her certification suspended effective 11/26/24. That suspension was stayed pending probation. She was assessed a civil penalty of $12,000, $10,000 of which was stayed for violations of Part 800.16A 1, 2, 3, 9, and 11. There's several course advisories. They are the Remo EMT original and the refreshers Tim mentioned, and the Remo EMT that we're waiting on more information on. Correspondence, we have a resignation on behalf of Alex Knowlton, who submitted that resignation, and in conjunction with that resignation, the second item is appropriate, and that is the Schenectady County EMS Committee has advised that Captain Jeffrey Huth of the Schenectady Fire Department will be their new delegate. We'll forward that to Lynn Kane for her whatever, in service, I guess is the best way to describe it. And a letter from Chief Paul Segru announcing that his retirement from Colony EMS and as he described, and all things EMS related will become effective December 20th, More than likely, Aaron Kelly will assume the position around the same time pending official appointment. Committee reports, the executive committee did not meet. Finance, Steve Kroll.
No report from finance.
Sounds good. Anything from the New York State EMS Council?
Yeah, State EMS Council met in December. Next meeting will be in February. I'll just give you some highlights. Regulations were published in the fall on both new EMS ambulance equipment standards and vehicle standards. The comment period on both of them is closed, and because the state received a lot of comments, they will have to be published again for a 45-day comment period. So if you're tracking those two regulations sometime in January, they'll be out again, and you'll have a chance to review that, decide if there's anything you want to suggest for improving of those regulations. Tim mentioned the program agency contracts. And I'll just say that State EMS Council is continuing to apply pressure to encourage the Department of Health to wrap up the contracting cycle, since there are a number of program agencies that don't have any money in the bank that they can use to tide them over. I think we're fortunate that we have some money to keep us going. And they're aware that now every month it goes by, people are dipping into their savings. The 2024 workforce shortage report was released, and Tim has sent that around to everybody, and we did talk about it a little bit at the REMAC meeting last week. A lot of discussion about hospital wait times at both the CMAC and Remsco, and we are asking regions to, number one, encourage their ambulance agencies to continue filing reports on the DOH website under the Bureau of VMS when they have excessive wait times. DOH has received over 1,000 reports this year, and right now that data is being analyzed so we can see where the patterns of delays are. And so please keep filing those reports. In addition, regions have been requested to collect data on their own if they feel hospital wait times are a problem in their region, to collect data that can be forwarded to the State EMS Council so we can act on that data. I do know that, for example, Saratoga County, Mike McAvoy has been doing data collection. I don't know that we have anything region-wide, but it's much easier for Remsco to act on something when we have data from a region that talks about the difficulties that they're having. Other notable items, the community paramedicine law, the demonstration project does expire in the spring, and the Remsco has asked the Commissioner of Health to put in the New York State budget legislation that will extend that program for 2 more years, as well as allow new providers to join. That does affect a few providers in our region that have community paramedicine programs. One that comes to mind is Valatia EMS, so that's a pretty important thing for us to get done. Let's see here. And I think I've covered most of it. A lot of discussion in the future about reforming of our EMS education system, whether it's working right now for, there have been a number of pilot programs tried to increase the number of people in EMS, and especially taking EMT. They have not been effective. And so there's a broad ranging discussion now with the EMS Council about if those aren't the right programs, what are, and the technical advisory groups can be working on that this year. If you've got if you've got a real concern about education, that's a place where you should weigh in. And the last thing I'll mention is Mike McAvoy from our region has served his last meeting as the chair of the State EMS Council. Mike's been a really good leader in getting the council focused on getting work done. This is his second time through, and so he is now retiring from the chair. I don't know if Mike's on tonight, but certainly I want to congratulate him on his leadership and his work well done. And he'll be replaced by David Violante, who comes from the Hudson Valley region. And that's my report, unless anyone has any questions.
I just had a quick question regarding the wait time information that's being submitted to the state. Were they forthcoming with a report specific to the information they have, or just indicating that they've gotten 1,000 reports?
Well, they've committed to analyzing that 1,000 between now and the next meeting. So at the next meeting, we'll have a report. In addition, we recognize that they have data on hundreds of thousands of PCRs that are submitted through the bridge. And we now collect the time that an ambulance arrives at the hospital, and we collect the time that a crew transfers care to the hospital staff. So we've asked the Bureau to analyze that PCR data to see what kind of trends they can find. So we're really attacking this from two ways. Number one, we're asking the state to use the data that they have to give us some answers, but we're also asking the regions to explore it on their own so that they can give us what they see happening locally. And we're hoping that between those two sources of data, we'll have got something that might lead us to what our next actions or activities might be.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other questions for Steve? Seeing none, we'll go to Anne Marie Cross, nurses.
Okay, so the committee met on November 21st. Excuse me, St. Peter's addressed the radiology diversion that they had in November. They said that a water pipe over the imaging suite had burst and the equipment was damaged. They also said that emergent MRIs were still down. That was at the time of our meeting, which was November 21st, but otherwise they were fully functional. And that they communicated this through Pulsera. So they said there were no issues with transfers. We discussed the narcotic waste issue with EMS had been resolved. And then Art Brialt had reported that all the regional hospitals will be going to Pulsera United, which has a transfer center. So we will be getting rid of LifeNet for the 12 lead EKG transmissions. They're reviewing expectations for EMS and what should go into the reports. Glens Falls reported that they had not been using Pulsera. Art said that it should be functioning. They had questioned whether it was functioning or not. He said he would look into that. And then the last thing, I had announced that I was stepping down as chair of the nurse committee. And I did put that out there to see if anyone else might be interested. Dave Galati did send out the minutes today and, stated that I would be stepping down and if anyone was interested. So more to come on that. We do have one person who has come forth and said that they would be interested in that, but we thought we'd put that out there for just a little bit to see, if other people may be interested or not. So right now, the next meeting is tentatively scheduled for January 16th. I did say, I would stay and do a handoff communication with whoever, was interested, and I could certainly, work with them even for the next meeting if they wanted me to do that. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we know if the physio control or striker monitors will import to Pulsera like the Zoll monitors do now?
I believe they will, from what Art said, but he could probably speak to that better than I can.
Sounds good. Again, Anne Marie, thank you for your tremendous service and efforts with increasing that committee's activities and usefulness as it relates to the entire region. So again, thank you. MCI would be PJ, and he is not in attendance. Huh?
MCI committee has not met.
Not met. Excellent. Membership. I don't have anyone from membership nominating.
Hey, Jim, on membership,
yep.
even with someone not being here for membership,
Yeah.
you might want to, under new business, if we want to appoint this person that is coming to Schenectady to replace Alex. I don't know if it has to go through the committee or if you can act on it tonight, but if it's a recommendation coming from the Schenectady EMS Council, I'm certain we would be accepting that recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, we would do that under
I think they
essentially
just get
items
to
from the
when you
floor.
get I think they get to say who their representative is.
Yeah, and he's
So
saying acknowledge it, I
they
think.
can acknowledge what they
Yep.
want to approve.
Very good. Nominating?
I'm working on nominations, but I don't have a document to go by, so I'm trying to figure out how to go forward.
Sounds good. Awards?
It's that time of year, isn't it?
Huh?
It's that time of year.
Yeah,
Awards, nothing new. I guess they're gonna be opening up the state portal a little early this year so we can get more submissions in. So we'll be sending something out probably after the first of the
Actually,
year.
I did today. I
I
didn't
saw
have
you
the
saw the one
exact
thing
date,
out.
but I did send out an FYI.
So we'll,
oh, it's already open. Good,
okay. Well,
cool.
we'll start the full car press. We won't have a nomination yet anyway.
Start poking. Albany County, anyone? Nope, seeing none. Columbia County.
As of December 10th, Columbia County 911 switched to a different CAD vendor. I believe it's one that Rensselaer County and Greene County utilize. So in that transition, we've moved, at least from the EMS standpoint, to utilizing mobile CAD. That's really it to report.
Sounds good.
Oh, yes. Yes, I didn't know if you were going to mention. Dr. Daly had mentioned it at the REMAC meeting. But we had an EMT who was posthumously awarded at AEMT level, but was working Copac Rescue middle of November, and actually had just returned from a cardiac arrest call. And him and his partner, his paramedic partner, were at the building, and then he experienced chest pain and went into cardiac arrest himself, and passed. There was a lovely service that was well attended by many emergency services throughout and expanding into the entire Remo region and beyond. I don't know if we want to have a moment of silence to recognize AEMT Steve Walsh.
Sure, I think that's appropriate. Very good. Greene County,
Nothing to report.
and that was Steve Neer. Rensselaer County.
County, nothing to report.
Okay, that was Kathy Allen. Saratoga County,
Nothing to report.
Tracy Weir. Schenectady County, Jim Vina.
We had a meeting and it was relatively short, but the two new EMS coordinators for the county were introduced. They're still not exactly sure what the scope of their jobs are at this point, and in fact finding still. So we're just waiting to see what happens with that and how they're able to help us with the EMS system in general in Schenectady County. Also, our chairman was generating a letter to the Schenectady County Legislature inquiring as to the status of the merger that we had proposed a while back between the Fire Advisory Board and the Schenectady County EMS Committee, and also reaffirming the fact that we voted in favor of the merger. And hopefully that'll help push them towards an outcome that would be beneficial to everybody in Schenectady County. Other business that was discussed was the difficulty in staffing that we're all experiencing currently, and just trying to get as much done as we possibly can. So unless anybody else from the committee that's on has anything else to add, that concludes what I have to say.
All right, thank you, Jim. I don't see anybody else raising their hand, so we're good. Under new business, as far as the Remo retreat, Tim mentioned, we've done some discussions kind of in the background, looking at previous information from the event that was held in the past. Steve Kroll sent us a bunch of information from that. Tim also pulled up some information that was in addition to what Steve provided. There was a survey, for lack of a better description, regarding day of the week. And I think Wednesday looks like it's probably high in terms of the day that we might have this, as it relates to just doing the housekeeping stuff before the retreat would occur. We probably can't do it before February. Part of it would be tweaking or finalizing a survey that would go out as it went out in the past, and get that out to folks so that would drive part of the day's activities. And we probably can't get reasonable response from that, and actually have it part of the retreat before February. So as it relates to potential dates, just open for discussions this evening regarding the folks in attendance. Obviously, the third week of February is President's Week, which is probably not a good week to choose. The second week would be February 12 as a Wednesday. I don't know if somebody has strong thoughts for or against February 12th as a potential date. Go with it. All right. Well, I guess we'll consider February 12 as the potential for the moment. As you guys know, Dwaynesburg Ambulance has offered to host. They've indicated that February 12 or really almost any day, weekday during the daytime would not be a challenge for them. So February 12 obviously works for them. They're doing a little whatever you want to call it, behind the scenes efforts to ensure that we have somebody that can provide lunch during this. So that's something they're working on their end. And I would just say, keep an eye to emails. Tim will obviously send out some more information as we tweak what we're getting or discussing as it relates to the retreat and the topics that would potentially be covered as part of that retreat. The next item is a teleconferencing or video conferencing policy that was developed by Terry Hannigan and distributed. So I guess if anybody has a discussion regarding what was sent or a suggestion or potential changes to that, certainly would be a good time to discuss those. And if not, we could certainly entertain a motion to accept that policy and put it in place. Mike Daly. So we have a motion by Dr. Daly to implement that telecommunications policy. Second. With that, any questions on, go ahead.
Just in terms of discussion.
Yep.
This is Senate motion on the floor. I made a couple of comments that I think I circulated to at least some of the group. Not sure where in that process it was. Just in terms of the justification behind why we have a policy that differs slightly from which section of code is it? I mean, it's open meetings law, but which
Article 7, public officers.
public officers law. Because really, we now represent an incredibly large area of New York. And what we have to be more than anything else is as inclusive and transparent as possible. And if our attorney believes that this policy will allow us to serve in that manner and allow as much inclusion as we can get across that geography, we absolutely have to do that, because we're not going to be able to, this impacts every one of our statutory committees, right? So from a REMAC perspective, we absolutely have to have a policy that allows this sort of participation, because we really need people from those rural hospitals to be engaged, and they're not going to come to Albany. And quite frankly, I don't think there's anybody from here that's going to go to Little Falls to join that meeting. So I think we need to do everything that we can to push this forward. And I think Terry did a really nice job of putting us there with a little bit of extra clarification just in terms of the purpose.
Yep. Sounds good. Any other discussion on the motion? All right. Anyone wishing to vote no or abstain? Excellent. Well, with that, we'll call the motion carried. Have a couple course sponsorships. One for Mohawk Ambulance, which is a specialty course. And I believe we typically have a motion to accept that course sponsorship. Yes. We don't do it that often. Is that what we typically do, Tim?
Whether that's an informational item or it's a format, it's a formal approval by the Remsco. I don't think the Remsco has to formally approve it. I think they have to acknowledge it.
Okay.
If anybody is more proficient in this process, let me know. I guess for the record, it would not hurt
Yep.
to have a formal approval noted on the recording or the transcript.
Sounds
That
good.
would cover the bases.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, why not? It's probably,
This is a specialty course sponsorship, and I
Yeah.
don't know if Carol or Otto want to speak to it or not, but.
I can speak to it on behalf of the training division. One of the things that we had recognized is that it's very challenging to get instructor level courses. The logistics, I know Remo has done a few of the originals over the years. Of late, there's been more of the review and refresher type courses. It's not our intent to impinge or infringe on any of that. It's our hope that we can work in unison. We have the ability to offer courses sometimes at different times where Remo might not be able to offer the courses. Daytime courses, weekend courses, evening courses. We'd like to, and then again, with the changes coming through the state with the original certifications, it's going to be kind of a moot point for original courses other than reinforcement of the state regulations. I believe it's going to be that all original instructor level, whether it's CLI or CIC, are going to have to complete the NAMC 1 course. So the original courses aren't really the main concern. Our concern is to be able to provide a regular avenue for refresher purposes. It's difficult at times, to say the least, and that's primarily what we're looking at doing. Is working through a unified schedule so that, you know, we can offer 2 a year, Remo can offer 2 a year, you know, typically through with Hudson Valley, just to have more of them out there. And of course, it's open to anyone in the state that wants to, you know, attend these.
sounds good. Any other questions for, Otto?
I think the one thing this really reflects as well is just challenges that we have right now with the course sponsorship process. You know, you have these regional faculty positions. There are very few people that have that regional faculty role. And they very frequently become the rate limiting step to offering anything. So I think the one thing that I would suggest is certainly if Mohawk has the depth on the bench to provide additional coursework for instructors across the region, please do so. But I would also ask Tim to take this back to the program agency directors meetings, have these conversations, bring them to the education committee of the state council. And let's make sure that indeed we have enough resources so we can continue to advance people across the state. Because the regional faculty process that we have right now is really challenging.
Sounds good. Anybody would like to make a motion to accept the Mohawk ambulance course sponsorship application? You guys do a motion. Motion by Otto, second. By Mike Daly. Again, anyone wishing to vote no or abstain, please say so. Seeing none, we'll call it motion carried. The other one is for Valatia Rescue Squad. And theirs is not a specialty course, so we're just essentially acknowledging them as a course sponsor. So in similar fashion, if somebody wanted to speak regarding it.
If anybody has any questions, it's something that we've worked at Valatia for the past few years to try to accomplish. We now have the facility, the equipment. I think is at the very least matching what Remo has and some of the college programs from an EMT's perspective. We have the staff, and we've recognized that there's definitely a lacking of course, sponsors in the area, and the attendance at some of the classes is definitely, you know, we want to see that improved. The state wants to see that improved, get more individuals on. It's not our intent to just cycle individuals through, of course. But we want to be able to prove or improve the number of individuals in both Columbia and Lower Rensselaer County, and see what we can do to aid our neighbors in providing well-qualified staff.
Any questions?
Actually add that this really dovetails nicely with the Fitch report and the commentaries on education that you had within that. So I think this is really the next step you're making on a county basis. So it's great.
Excited. We just actually had our Chief Chesney from the state came and did our final inspection this morning.
Excellent. You want to make the motion to?
I don't know if I should abstain.
I will make the motion.
All right, I have a motion by Dr. Daly to accept the Felicia Rescue Squad. Seconded by Otto. And in similar fashion, is anybody interested in abstaining or voting no? All right, seeing none, we'll call it motion carried. I don't believe we have anything that we have not discussed under old business. Items from the floor or new business would be related to what Anne Marie mentioned and her retiring, for lack of a better description, from service on the nurses committee. We have a communication from Art Bro, who many of you would know, who has expressed an interest in potentially becoming a REMO member, and in conjunction with that REMO membership, serving as a person who might want to chair the nurses committee. So essentially, we'll just read that into the record at this time, and we'll have Art interact with Lynn and have her do her due diligence as it relates to him as a potential member. I don't have anything in terms of a resume or anything of that nature, other than his expressing interest in serving. And for those who may not know Art, that would be a good reason why we would essentially table it or hold off until we have a full resume or something from him. Do we have anything else?
Well, we were going to talk about just briefly the improving an AV system here so that
Oh,
we can better
yeah, I
host
apologize.
these remote meetings that we're
Yep.
we're talking about. So I think Tim's going to look into stuff. Adam Fink got us a quote for some for a screen and such. So I think what we need to do is figure out exactly what we need to outfit this room to better host these meetings. I mean, if anybody attended that REMAC meeting the other day, it was kind of
Challenging.
It was not pretty.
I think it also would benefit any that would
Right.
be in a hybrid fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. That was part of our thought process as well. So I think we should look into what would be needed to better outfit this room for the teleconferencing. So Tim, you've written down a few places we're going to look into, and Adam, I don't know what I am not a tech person, so
Making a couple notes, we'll get a couple more.
so we'll get some quotes
Adam's
maybe.
nice enough to procure a quote from
Right.
Albany IT.
Yes.
It's $7,800 range. So if anybody else has any providers out there you want me to reach out to, I was thinking Town TV and maybe those are two that come to my mind. But if anybody else has an organization or somebody out there that you think is more than capable of us with something like this, let me know and I'll also reach out to them.
Yeah, we've dealt with both, I believe, at Mohawk, and they both provide decent service. So
Yeah, and I would just say for the group, if there's anyone who uses a system and has either strong pros or cons for what they're using, obviously send that forward. The last thing we want to do is buy something that needs duct tape.
Yeah, Jim, having recently done this in Del Mar, I think that there's a lot of parameters that are very specific to the room that you have, the type of internet that you have, the types of meeting that you hold. So it's not something that, we can like buy equipment and set up. I would recommend, like Tim is doing, having a couple vendors come in, describe to them exactly what the uses are. That's what we did for Town TV, and we're very happy, but they gave us all sorts of options about, the number of microphones. Do you want ceiling mounted microphones? Do you want table microphones? How many cameras do you want? So I think that, get someone to give you a competitive bid that fits the specifications Tim has will make it much easier for us to decide. And also to hold someone accountable to performing a system the way they say it's going to perform.
Sounds good. Any other current suggestions or questions regarding that?
In terms of end of year turnaround documents, just today I sent out to all medical directors and ALS coordinators that I had on file a letter that was or a set of instructions that was approved by REMAC for 2024's turnaround documents. Essentially, it is up to the agency medical director to optimally put together a skills verification and CME hours package for their agency. The ALS coordinator would be attesting to the region that the plan agreed to between the agency and the medical director has been completed, and then send in that attestation that their specific agency plan has been completed.
To make that a little bit easier, this actually is exactly what's going on right now, but 2 steps simpler than it has been in the past. So it's no additional work for anybody. The attestation is easier, and the process should be more seamless for the agencies.
Sounds good. Any other items from the floor? Little background noise. All right, seeing none. Our next meeting would be February 24. With that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn. Motion. Second?
I'll second it.
Oops. And with that, enjoy the holidays. We'll see you in 2025.
Try not to walk off.
So stop recording. And Jim and Tim, I think that one thing that we do need to focus on, that we talked about a couple of years ago that we never really acted on, that we do need to come up with a plan for. Columbia County did a spectacular job working with Dream on